Right now, it provides the city with $3.7 million a year. So we need to be able to find a way to replace that income before we just wipe it out of the spending plan for the upcoming fiscal year.
Forgive my ignorance. Of course, my name is Marcus Ferris. Is there a way that occupational tax can be itemized so that citizens can know where the money is going? Or is there a way that can't happen?
Well, right now the money is not restricted.
Okay.
When we receive it, it goes directly into the general fund.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows us to be able to provide the citizens with police, fire, public works, and all the things that you see here in the city.
Okay.
So it is not I guess you could say earmarked for anything, but it helps to undergird the general fund to be able to allow us to do the things that we need to do for the city.
Is the grocery store still coming off Ratsmere Road and follow up the road before you get to 459? Say Taco Bell and some more places are those still happening?
You didn't hear my Paul Revere Facebook Live
I did not.
Sunday?
I did not.
Well, do you all want to hear another rendition of the grocery store? Well, my little funny thing about the grocery store, because when I came into office, the sign suddenly disappeared. So people began to talk about, is the grocery store coming, is the grocery store coming, is the grocery store not coming? Now, I'm not a Facebook person. I only do Facebook because of those two individuals over there. They forced me to do it during the campaign, and I went kicking and screaming, and I was just like, no, I don't want to do it, whatever. And Christian was like, no, Dad, you need to do it. So they are responsible for that, so they keep me abreast on what's going on. But we will do a Facebook Live the first Sunday of each month, just to be able to give you an update about what's going on in the city. But the grocery store is coming. The last time I talked to them, which was a month ago, they said they would be here in 60 days. Or the paperwork will be signed between the developer and the grocery store to make it official. So it's coming. And it should be coming soon. And we would love to share with you who it is when it gets ready to come here. So my thing was the grocery store is coming, the grocery store is coming, the grocery store is coming. So it's coming.
As you update things, will we ever get rid of that sign that no longer works or hasn't worked for years?
Susan, you must have been at the Exchange Club meeting today.
No, I wasn't.
Your spirit must have been there. That was one of the questions that came up at the Exchange Club. I had an opportunity to be able to speak there. I've been a part of the club, president, love everybody that's there. But Chris Metcalf asked me that same question. James, what do you want to do about the sign? And to be honest with you, I've had mornings where I wanted to come in and ask Frank to just go remove the sign. Because it's not working and it's kind of like an eyesore. I think it's been there for so long and it hasn't been working for so long that you become immune to it that you don't even realize that it's there. So we're going to look at that, Susan and Amanda. That would be something that will be a part of the capital plan. Our capital budget says anything that's purchased over $5,000 will go to the capital spending plan. So we are looking at replacing the sign this year. We just trying to figure out what Raceway what their plans are for their property.
Yeah, Ron Bishop. The changes to Ruffner Park, are those additions, subtractions? What's actually changing that makes the number change to 900,000, or is it just environmental stuff that they found?
Nothing, Ryan. We really didn't change anything. I asked them to, first of all, when I had my first meeting with them, I was very curious with how much it was going to cost for the entire park. And they told me that it was going to cost $7 million to do all 4 phases. I shared with them, we never heard the price tag of $7 million. So can you please go back and sharpen your pencil a little bit to see how we can get the cost down for the rest of the project. But the first phase is still the same first phase with the dog park, the baseball fields, and the amphitheater. Now, I want to say he had maybe a 10% or 15% markup in there in the event that things go crazy and don't turn out the way that we really want them to turn out. Right. But nothing has changed with the schematics of what was presented and the citizens agreed on. I feel that I have to follow through on that because that's what the citizens decided that you all wanted for that particular park, and I'm responsible for being the steward to make sure that it happens.
How about Red Rock Trail, I think is what it's called. Is that something that the city would participate in to connect us to the rest of the trail system?
Yes, and I want to say Red Rock Trails stops or starts right there on Ruffner,
Yeah.
where it connects with it can connect City of Irondale with the rest of the plan. So we do plan on getting involved with that. One of the things that I ran on was ecotourism. We wanted to make sure that we take advantage of the assets that we have here in the community. And Ruffner and Red Rock is one of the assets that we actually have here in the community. So we're looking at exploring with being a part of that trail.
I see where our building inspector is leaving or has left. Is there a replacement for him?
Well, we currently have 2 inspectors. Greg Cochran has been with the city for less than a year. We have done some reorganizing in the inspections department. Our wonderful fire chief and assistant fire chief decided that since they do inspections as well, that they would make that one department. So right now we have Josh, we have Brad, we have Greg that is working with them. Frank is also a part of that team dealing with the stormwater issues that we have. We also have Kelly in the office that issues the permits. So once we get to the first of the year, I'll try to get a list from the personnel board, but you know how it is to be able to get a list from the personnel board that have qualified people on there. But we'll go ahead and give it a shot anyway, and if we can find somebody that is have the qualifications to do the job, we will hire them, and if not, we will just rearrange some things internally to make sure that you all do not see a drop in the services that is provided by the inspections department.
I would also like to bring up the fact that some parts of the roads are in need of probably infrastructure underneath, so you may want to check out the road system before paving to where you don't pave it and have to tear it up.
So you're not a fan of paving a new road and then having to go tear it up to work on the storm drains after you put new pavement on it? We're going to try not to make that mistake, Susan. That's why I talked about we want to set aside money for storm drains as well, because a lot of times when you see the sinkholes in the roads, a lot of those storm drains were put in with galvanized pipe, and over time it has eroded. So that's why you see the sinkhole there. You can go put the new pavement over it, but if you don't get up under the ground and be able to replace the storm drain, then you'll have the same issues. So we're going to try to coordinate those things, that whenever we replace a storm drain, that we will also pave the road at the same time, so we don't have to go in and tear up our beautiful roads after we've spent such hard-earned money to pave them. We got to go in and tear them up to be able to put in a storm drain.
Will that also go out to bids as far as for the paving?
Yes. Anything over $50,000, public works projects have to go out for bid. So if the storm drains fall up under the $50,000, then Frank has the latitude to be able to choose who he would like to be able to do the work. But anything over $50,000 on a public works project goes out to bid.
Because I think it was done construction last time that paved.
It was. Yeah, it was. They did Beacon Road, Beacon Drive, and they also did 20th Street out here, which was done right before the campaign.
The other thing is, I just noticed a sign go up for the Grass Mill shopping area for lease.
Yes, they have a new real estate company that is managing that area, and Councilman Wilson had a conversation with them, and they may be interested in allowing the city to get the land that was up there that was once used for the dog park to be able to use that land again. So anybody on any of you great counselors have any questions back there?
Is there any money in the new budget, or how will we put money in the new budget for additional parks other than Ruffner? Do we have just a park budget, or is everything for this year planned for Ruffner?
No, it's really at the council discretion to determine, what your priorities are. So no, you all can allocate the funds however you want to be able to allocate the funds. After all, like I said, we have close to $6 billion in the reserve fund, and I mean, you all could use some of that since we have hit that 20% of revenue that we try to be able to keep in that particular fund. So we don't have a particular line item for it, Councilman Box, but you all can decide to be able to reallocate the funds however you see fit to do it.
Very good. So if we wanted to do some improvements, say to Eller, something we could try to sponsor something there.
Yes.
Or any possible new parks that we might be interested in.
You're absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Good. Cindy, you have any questions?
The only thing I was gonna ask, Mayor, is when we could expect to receive a draft of the budget?
That's a good question. Let me see. This is how the budget story goes. I'm going to have one more town hall meeting on Thursday, which will be the virtual town hall meeting. So hopefully I'll be able to collect questions from that meeting, or to some questions or some things that I may have overlooked, and being able to put this one together. Then my goal is to be able to get it to you by the first of the week, which is the 13th, December 13th. Yeah. So the first of the 13th, that's my goal, is to be able to get it to you all there, and then it will be left up to Council President Spivey to dictate the rest of the process. So let me share with you all how the process goes. I forgot that you all are new. So the way that the budget process works, we really had to jump through a lot of steps this year. Next year, it'll be much better because I didn't get started until I was sworn in. Usually you start out 3 to 4 months with gathering information from your department heads, meeting with them, identifying what their needs, their wants, and the things that they want to be able to do. And then you begin to put that information into numbers, and then you figure out what are going to be your goals and objectives and how you want to be able to approach the year. Then you get back with them. One of the things that I've done differently, I try to project the revenue and then determine what is going to be allotted to each department. Some people are these great wish budgeters where they say, hey, just go out and just dream big and see what you want the sky and everything to look like, and then they come in with $30 million of expenses, but you only got $20 million in revenue. So I always try to say, okay, this is how much money you got to spend. Now go do the best with allocating that money, how you want to be able to do it. So we gather the information. They provide me with the information. This year, I guess you could say I was in the dual role because I was city clerk half of the year, and now I'm the mayor. So my city clerk self gave it to my mayor to be able to put the rest of it, or put this together. So now that I've put it together, I've had these town hall meetings, then what I'm supposed to do is to be able to turn it over to the council, and then I get out the way. Then the council goes through it and decides what you want to add, subtract, whatever adjustments, whatever you want to make, and then you all vote on it. Then once you vote on it, then we will live with it for the fiscal year. One of the things I do want to recommend, that if we can come back and look at the spending plan in February, because the bulk of the city revenue comes in the month of December and January. So we will know exactly where we stand for the rest of the fiscal year, because that's when your business license revenue come in, And that's also when your property tax revenue comes in at the same time. So I would love for us to be able to look at the spending plan again in February to determine if the projections that we decided to make, if those things really fit what's going on in our current economic environment. But that's just pretty much how the process goes.
I have one other question there, and that is, when you're exiting off of 20, whether you're going east or west, they have those real high cluster lights you exit on Kilgore, or you're coming down 20 west, those lights have been off. Do you know what we can do to get those lights on, because it's kind of dark when you come on?
Yes. The Mayor's Association was getting ready to create an agreement with Alabama Power to study all of the lighting, the interstate lighting in Jefferson County, because everybody has the same issue. I don't think that there's an interstate light in the city of Irondale that actually works. But we pay for it every month, although it doesn't work. So I have a meeting with the Jarvis Leonard on December the 18th, and he's head of ALDOT for District 3, which we're in District 3. And then on December the 30th, I have a meeting with Mr. Cooper, who is over ALDOT, and I plan on having a conversation with them to see what can we do to improve or to get the interstate lighting up in the city of Irondale in this fiscal year. So that's, I guess, one of the projects that you will see added to the capital plan that I would love to see our interstates lit up when you'll know that you'll hit the city of Irondale. So I'll be checking on that within the month of December, and in January I'll be able to include that as a part of my mayor's report to let you all know what's going on.
I have something to add about the lighting, and I have a question. I was driving down the freeway once on Interstate 20, headed westbound toward the city of Birmingham, right through Irondale, and it was very windy and it was nighttime, and I actually saw 2 light poles fall over onto the freeway while I was driving. It was kind of like out of a movie, I mean, it was just bizarre. But if you look now, all of these light poles are just falling down, and in order to cut, they have to lift these light poles up. Gigantic light poles. They have to move them to cut around on the highway. So it is a danger and it is a concern, and I did have an opportunity to speak with Alabama Power about it, and they said that they quit maintaining them because the city wouldn't designate enough funds to maintain them properly, and it wasn't worth the risk for Alabama Power to be involved with it.
Okay.
So that's the backstory that I got from some guys that do work that put lighting in at the property that I'm managing.
Okay. Amanda, were you at the Exchange Club meeting today too?
No, I wasn't.
Because that same question,
Oh, really?
you all trying to pull a trick on me. That same question came up at
They
the.
were just trying to prepare you.
That's what it was. They did a good job of preparing, because one of the individuals asked me, "What are you going to do about the poles that are laying down on the interstate?" And first of all, they look ugly, and then they could be a hazard to somebody when they pull off to the side of the road and all that kind of stuff.
I'm so glad that somebody else is bothered by it.
Yeah, somebody else.
Pieces of litter to me everywhere I look, and it just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you is.
But Amanda, I am going to check with Mr. Cooper as well as Mr. Leonard when I meet with them this month about that on the freeway.
That's wonderful. When we pave, oftentimes we're not putting much of a berm on the side of the road, so when the trucks get near the edge of the road, it just breaks off. In the Midwest where I'm from, there's snow, and they have to have somewhere to put it, but there are also cyclists, and those cyclists need somewhere to be. So we put a little bit more of a berm on the edge of our roadways in the Midwest.
Okay.
And that idea is kind of a nifty idea, because all you need to do is put some paint down that designates bike lanes, and all of a sudden you have a commuter-friendly, livable city, whereas before it was kind of just like every other place,
Okay.
And if you go to how you geek out when you travel, I mean, when I was in Minneapolis about 15 years ago, I was marveling at the fact that it was 45 degrees and all these people were riding bicycles around, and they're just there's painted bike lanes everywhere in Minneapolis, and I thought, wow, it's not even warm enough here to ride your bike. And
Right.
these people, you know, are still out riding their bike because they have these designated lanes. We started to do a little bit of that, and the Ruffner Trail, or the Red Rock Trail
Mhm.
helps that. But if we could do that when we create roads,
Well,
think about.
you have just been selected to chair.
Comprehensive plan.
Thank you, Councilman Fox. Yeah, you talk yourself into a volunteer job, so we will make sure when we start doing our payment program, and when we start trying to connect to the Red Rock Trail, well, I already got your contact information,
Okay,
so.
all right, well, thank you. I
So
appreciate
we
it.
appreciate you. It's kind of like in church, you know, when you talk after whatever, you know. So you all welcome Amanda to her new board position.
Thank you.
And staying on roads, Jefferson County, do they still own roads in Irondale? I know there's a lot of in and out of Irondale sections.
They do. Maybe about a year ago, the previous administration struck out an agreement with them to be able to reclaim their roads. So they've now reclaimed all of their roads and that are through roads here in the city of Irondale.
So that will mean some of the roads won't get paved if it's strictly Irondale paving their road.
Well, I meet with Joe Knight in the morning. I'll tell him exactly what you said. So,
Alright, you
yeah. So I'll bring that up to him when I meet with him because I know they've done a few roads here in the city of Irondale. So what I'll do, I'll find out what are they planning to be able to do their other through roads, and I'll make sure I contact you and let you know how that meeting turned out.
appreciate it.
You working yourself to get on the committee too.
Then I will talk.
No. Okay. All right. Do we have any more questions? Well, I just want to thank you all for coming out, and hopefully I've been able to impart some information that has been very helpful to you. I know that the questions that you've asked me about the spending plan have been very helpful to me. And now I can go back and sharpen my pen and to make sure that all of the funds are allocated in the place where they need to be allocated. And if you think of any additional questions, please send me an email at jstewart@cityofirondale.al.gov. And I usually don't get an opportunity to sit down until it's time to go to bed, so I may not respond to you during the regular work hours, but I will make sure that I send you an email within 24 hours, even if I tell you that I'm going to send you an email in another 24 hours. But I'll make sure that I keep you informed about what's going on. I just want everybody to know that, hey, we're all in this together. And Irondale has the potential to be a great city. And it can be there if we all work together and we all begin to push in the same way. Doesn't mean that we have to agree about everything. Doesn't mean that we have to go out and sing Kumbaya with each other. But it does mean that because we love the city and we want to see the city to be able to move forward, then we want to be able to push it in that direction. I realize that all the things that I would like to see happen in the city, those things are not going to happen because it's not about me, but it's more about what you want and how I can facilitate those things to happen. So we're going to have more town hall meetings. I like to get up here and kind of cut up. I think the best part of the job sometimes is the ambassador side of the job when you get a chance to be able to deal with the people. The administrative part is okay, but sometimes you get tired of having to deal with issues all the time. But this part of the job is kind of like the joy part of the job when you really get a chance to be able to touch the people and be able to share with the people, but then to be able to give you all the things that you want to make this city great. So I thank you for coming out tonight. If you have any additional questions, like I said, feel free to be able to send me an email. Also, I want to thank our counselors for being here tonight. We have Ms. Cindy Cuellar from District 3. We have Robert Box here from District 4. And we have our council president, David Spivey, from District 2. David didn't ask any questions because he and I talked 30 minutes before we got here. So I think I answered all of his questions. But I just want to say thank you, and may God keep you in perfect peace. May you have a fantastic holiday season, and that you are delivered safely to your destination tonight. So thank you all, and may God continue to bless you.